Hey there, Gabriel Brofato here from GB Voice Academy, and today I want to share with you 5 daily habits that you could do to greatly improve your communication skills. And this is particularly for people who are shy in front of people, who are not exactly extroverts, or whose English is not their first language. This is the video for you. Now, I've accumulated all of this information based on all of my students that I work with on a regular basis, and I've concocted the most efficient game plan to really take your communication skills to the next level. Let me ask you this. Who are the greatest speakers you know? Today happens to be Martin Luther King Day. Martin Luther King. Extraordinary communication skills. Barack Obama. My personal favorite, Orson Welles. Morgan Freeman. What do they all have in common? Aside from being very dynamic and charming, there's something that they do that we could do now. We could learn now in how to greatly improve your communication skills. Think about it. They take their time. When they speak, there's no rush. They take the proper pauses. They don't jump through the information. They don't jump ahead. They're in the moment. Every word has a spotlight. Take a listen to the great speakers and you'll notice that. They're in no rush. What they have to say is important, and it exudes confidence from the speaker, which will translate to the audience. If you're standing there and you're taking your time and you're saying, you know what I have to say is important, there's no need for me to rush. You're going to listen to me. That exudes confidence, and your audience will feel that as well. Let's look at 2 scenarios, for example. We have 2 speakers. One person has, say, this much information they have to get across. His goal is to get this information to these people fast. All of the information. But did you get to everybody? Did you land every piece of detail, that information to your audience? I'm sure there's a percentage of the audience that didn't understand what you were saying, number 1. Number 2, you spoke too fast. Not everybody could process this information the same way, so you might have to go back and repeat yourself, right? Another scenario, same person, same information, but they take their time. They make sure every word lands, the right pauses are there, enough time for people to process the information. Now, does this guy have to go back and repeat himself? No. Who's more efficient? And remember, a lot of people are very polite. A lot of people won't tell you to repeat yourself. They'll just be like, yeah, sure, I got it. But in fact, they didn't, and they don't want to be rude and ask you to repeat yourself. Then your communication isn't as efficient. Remember, as you speak, put a spotlight on every word. Take your time. That will bring confidence to you and to your listener. The second thing I want you to do on a daily basis, or as much as you can, is read. I read all the time. Yeah, but what's the big deal? How's that helping me? Read out loud. Whether it's fiction, science, whether it's a work-related material, read out loud. Implement number 1, taking your time. What you start doing is you start getting used to the sound of your voice and the sound of your pacing, and you start realizing, hey, you know what? Maybe I am speaking a little fast. Maybe I could pull it back a bit. What I recommend to a lot of my clients is read to a child. If you have kids or if you have a nephew or niece, read to them. They're the best teachers, because if you're not engaging, they'll leave. When clients would come over to my office, I would have them read to my 3-year-old twin boys. And if they left the room, you weren't as engaging as you needed to be. Your job is to be engaging, to tell the story, to use the nuances of your voice and take your time. Once upon a time, Little Red Riding Hood went to see her grandmother, and then there was a big bad woof. Gone. That information, nobody will get that. Once upon a time, in a dark, deep forest, Little Red Riding Hood was prancing along to her grandmother's house, using a lot of inflection and, again, taking your time. I guarantee you that child, your nephew, whomever you're reading to is, what's next? And that translates when you're doing presentations at work, or when you're talking to a loved one, or when you're trying to get a point across. Take your time, read out loud, get used to the sound and feel of your voice. Something I recommend doing, go to a local library and ask if you could read to children. I recommend this to everybody, and they'll say, yeah, sure. Every local library usually has a reading hour or a time where they would read out loud to children, and it's a great opportunity to just grab a book, sit down in front of kids, hey kids, and read out loud. Take your time. You will learn so much. And I always say this, kids are the best teachers. The third thing I want you to do is to actively listen. When you're, say, for example, watching a movie, or what I always recommend to my clients is, watch the latest, greatest sitcom comedy. Because that is the most, to date, American rhythm that you could follow. Because you know that those writers of those sitcoms are the best of the best. They'll spend hours working on, should we say, if or but. What would be better? So you know that everything has been thought through over and over and over again, and as well as a delivery from the actor. So this is a wonderful template for you to start practicing perfect timing, especially with comedic timing. Comedy is a wonderful source. Comedy is all about punchlines, delivering, and the rhythm of that comedy will only work if you get the rhythm right. So if you can get the rhythm of that comedy in your body, this is particularly for people whose English is not their first language, it's really going to drastically help you find that rhythm. Put on the subtitles. They say a joke, great laugh in the audience, pause it, repeat that joke. Try that often enough and you're going to start feeling that rhythm, that comedic timing thing. And it's very common in American culture to be witty, to be funny. And you'll always notice is that the setup is always different from the punchline. Oh my God, so I was walking my dog and I saw Devin and he turned around and he hailed a cab. You see how the setup is different from the punchline. You're going to start getting used to the difference in tonality and rhythm and speed when watching comedy. So watch with the subtitles, pause, repeat. Get that rhythm in your body. Fourth thing I want you to do is to take improv classes. I cannot stress enough the importance of taking improv classes. Don't get intimidated. It's not for just comedic actors or LA Hollywood people. There are a lot of, if you go to meetup.com, there are a lot of local improv groups that'll meet. And there are people like you, people in the industry, people who are not in the industry, people who work for big corporations or just who are in the office setting, who have problems communicating. And I swear to you, people who take the improv classes find that their communication skills literally will get better after the first session, because you learn to just loosen up and know that it's okay to make mistakes and that everything you say is right. Because what happens is that we get so self-critical. Everything we say, we judge the hell out of it. And so our confidence level goes down and then we start spiraling downwards. No, what you have to say is important. Improvise. And a lot of these groups will get together with other people just like you who are not that experienced maybe, or experienced, and they just do small little exercises to loosen you up. And the more you do it, the more confident you're going to be. And you're not going to have that filter that's always criticizing in your head as you're saying it. So then when you're up there speaking, instead of spiraling downward, you'll be spiraling upwards with confidence. It's all about momentum, and make that momentum positive. Improv. Which takes me to my last point, confidence. Be confident. If you do these 4 things I was telling you, you will be confident, and that will feed on itself, give you a lot more confidence. Take what you're learning and go out into the world and do it. Take your time. As an audience, we are very sensitive to when somebody's nervous. We know, don't we? We've seen people who are not very comfortable, and before they even speak, we know it. Whether it's fidgeting, whether it's clearing their throat, whether it's no eye contact, whether it's talking from a very shy place, we see it. And that feeds on itself. That it's like a virus that just eats away at your confidence. Throw all that away. Take your time. Be engaging. Look at your audience. And by doing these exercises every day, you will get better. Your confidence will improve. And it's just going to spiral upwards until you become this dynamic, articulate communicator that you've always wanted to be, that you know you are, but you just got to rip off those layers that are holding you back. Ultimately, we want to have fun. It's a cliche, isn't it? Just be yourself, have fun. Easier said than done if English is not your first language, if you're an introvert, if speaking in public is not really for you. There are ways to do it. You weren't born this way. We could learn. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, because I have videos like this coming out all the time. Also check out my 5-star best-selling online course on communication that I have linked below. It's taking the world by storm. We all have something important to say. Don't let anything hold you back. The number one thing I tell all my clients, speak from the heart. If it's coming from the heart, it's never wrong.